One evening, Zachary Madlock stumbled into the local Domino's. Half drunk and with a wild look in his eyes. He wasn't there for the pizza. Truth be told, Zachary rarely did anything with a clear purpose these days. His life had become a string of impulsive decisions, each more reckless than the last. He was known around town as the guy who seemed to thrive on chaos. But tonight, even by his own standards, he was about to push things too far. Michael L., the pizza maker behind the counter, was halfway through kneading dough for the next order when Zachary barged in. The bell above the door jingled obnoxiously as Zachary sauntered in, swaggering as though he owned the place. Michael glanced up, already weary from the late shift. He had seen plenty of strange customers before. But there was something off about Zachary's unsteady gait and wild grin. "Hey, man, you need something?" Michael asked, trying to keep things cordial. Zachary leaned on the counter, his eyes glassy, as though he was searching for a response but not quite finding one. Without a word, Zachary looked past Michael toward the pizza dough, now stretched out and ready for toppings. His expression shifted to one of exaggerated concentration. And before Michael could react, Zachary made his move. He swung his hips up onto the counter, much to Michael's shock, and with a ridiculous flourish, unzipped his pants. Before Michael could comprehend what was happening, Zachary slapped his exposed todger right onto the uncooked pizza. There was a moment of stunned silence, the absurdity of the situation freezing time in its tracks. Michael's brain struggled to catch up with what his eyes were seeing. Zachary, grinning like a madman, leaned in closer and muttered, "Extra meat on the house." Michael's face turned beet red, anger and disbelief flooding his system in equal measure. "What the hell, man?" he shouted, grabbing a rolling pin in one hand, ready to defend his dignity and his pizza. Zachary, still perched on the counter like a man who had just made the joke of a lifetime, seemed to think it was all hilarious. But Michael wasn't laughing. He lunged forward, shoving Zachary off the counter and sending him crashing to the floor. Zachary howled with laughter even as he hit the cold tiles, still half-zippered and now sprawled out like a drunken fool. The commotion drew the attention of the manager, who burst through the swinging doors from the back. "What's going on out here?" The manager, a burly man named Pete, demanded, taking in the sight of Zachary on the ground and Michael, furiously tossing the Nauruan pizza into the trash. "This lunatic just slapped his todger on the pizza," Michael yelled, pointing at Zachary, who was now lying on the floor, arms stretched out in mock surrender. "Hey, it's a free topping," Zachary slurred, barely able to sit up straight as he smirked up at Pete. Pete's face contorted with fury and disgust. "Call the cops," he barked at Michael. "Get this idiot out of here." As Michael fumbled for his phone, Zachary realized that his little stunt had officially crossed the line from bizarre to criminal. He staggered to his feet, attempting to zip his pants while mumbling some half-hearted apology. But it was too late. The cops were on their way, and Zachary knew it was time to make an exit. Before anyone could stop him, Zachary stumbled toward the door, laughing like a man who had lost all sense of reality. He shoved it open, the bell jingling again as he made his hasty retreat into the night, still chuckling to himself. Back in the Domino's, Michael stood there, shaking his head in disbelief. "I've seen some weird stuff in my time," he muttered to Pete, "but that's a new one." Pete just sighed, grabbing the sanitizing spray. "We are gonna need to make a fresh pizza." As the sirens approached, Zachary disappeared down the street, leaving behind only the memory of his bizarre outburst. But in a small town like theirs, stories spread fast, and by morning, everyone would know about the man who tried to add a little too much personal touch to his pizza order.